A Donald Trump envoy has said that he does not believe that Putin wants to invade all of Europe. Well, great. Isn't that great? We got that settled. Putin says he doesn't want to do it. Let's just take him at his word, right? Because good old Putin has never gone back on his word or never lies to anyone, right? Unfortunately, not. But before we look at that, please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with someone who's into politics. It helps YouTube take my channel more seriously and spread it to more and more people. So let's head over here to barons.com where it says, oops, 1 second. There we go. It says Trump envoy says Putin not planning to invade all of Europe. US President Donald Trump's envoy said on Sunday that he does not see President Vladimir Putin wanting to invade beyond Ukraine and described fears of broader Russian aggression as academic. I just don't see that he wants to take all of Europe, Steve Witkoff told Fox News. I take him at his word in this sense. So, and I think the Europeans are beginning to come to that belief too. But it sort of doesn't matter. That's an academic issue. The agenda is stop the killing, stop the carnage. Let's end this thing. Okay, so there's a few problems with this, right? A, Putin totally violated the Minsk agreements that were already a form of a peace treaty between Ukraine and Russia, and made the Minsk agreements totally null and void back when he decided to invade Ukraine in a widespread way and hit its cities with missiles in February 2023. Now, or 2022, excuse me. Putin has already gone back on his word. He went back on his agreeing to the Minsk deal and made that deal completely null and void, which is why it is totally unfair and totally frivolous to think that a ceasefire in any form that does not require Russia to withdraw all of its troops from Russia, give back land to Ukraine, is something that cannot be trusted as far as you can throw Vladimir Putin. And the main line of thinking as to why we need to defend Ukraine, in my mind, is that Putin very certainly does want to invade beyond Ukraine. He said so. He said so in his evil speech, his evil, rambling, distorted, defunct history lesson that he attempted to beat the West and the world over with back when he invaded. He said that the USSR is something that still exists, and that countries that left the USSR, such as many of the Eastern Europe countries, Lithuania, those countries left the USSR because communism failed. The Berlin Wall fell in 1989. And those countries converted to a different style of government where they don't want anything to do with Vladimir Putin. They don't want anything to do with Vladimir Putin's dictatorship and his ruling with an iron fist. And what Putin explicitly said was that those countries, their forms of government, they're just doing a little, they're just being unruly teenagers. Ever since the Berlin Wall fell, that you have countries that are just being unruly teenagers. And as soon as Putin comes along and liberates their countries from forms of government that they don't actually want, trust me, you guys actually want to be a part of the USSR again, that everything will be fine and dandy. Once Putin is able to redraw the borders of Eastern Europe and have his way with any country that he sees fit, because he doesn't think those countries are real countries. Don't take my word for it. Go and listen to what Putin said in his speech. I mean, this is why Ukraine is the front line of keeping a wider conflict from occurring. Now, we can say, well, let's just let Ukraine fall, and let's just really hope and cross our fingers that Putin's pinky promise that he is not going to invade further west into Europe, that he upholds that pinky promise. When that's not at all what happened, when the Minsk agreements were completely violated. And that's not at all what happened when Putin told the world, I want to take over other countries, and other countries that used to be a part of the USSR and now they're not. Well, they're just on a, you know, they're just being unruly teenagers. No, 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 no. We cannot trust Vladimir Putin or his word whatsoever. And we cannot find ourselves in a situation where Ukraine is abandoned. And let's say 5, 10, 15, 20 years pass. And Putin is allowed to just regain and rebuild and re-gear for another invasion. Attacking a NATO country, which would draw in United States boots on the ground or no-fly zones, essentially what would be World War III at that point. That's not something that we are going to do. And you have to really wonder, why is it that Donald Trump is so ready, willing, and able to accept Putin at his word, at face value, when that's not something that any other United States allies in Europe, in the West, in NATO, are doing or think is a good idea to do? Why is it that Donald Trump is so friendly to Putin's worldview and accepts it with no qualms whatsoever, and think that that's just let's just take Putin and his worldview and dust our hands off and call it a day? Very, very peculiar. People have been saying Donald Trump is, a Russian asset and is totally in bed with the Russians, and that the current White House is basically a arm of, an additional arm of the Kremlin propaganda machine that has been going at full force for a long, long time now. Is Donald Trump compromised? what is it that Putin has on Trump that makes him so ready, willing, and able to just bend over backwards to accept whatever Putin says is the current world order? Um, it's very concerning. It's very, very concerning, and we need to get to the bottom of Donald Trump's affinity for Vladimir Putin's worldview, in which he states he pinky promises he's not going to go any further west than Ukraine. Okay, that's what you said for a long, long time when it came to Ukraine. That okay, it's just these special regions, the Luhansk and Donetsk regions, where majority of people, oh, they don't actually want to be a part of Ukraine. But it turns out that many of these people are propagandists and Russian separatists in some cases, where they're not actually Ukrainian people that had some bone to pick with Zelensky and the Ukrainian government. It's mainly propaganda that was very, very effective in allowing Putin to keep attacking those regions, right? When Barack Obama was president, with very little repercussions on the world stage. But that reasoning of accepting Putin's word that he was not going to attack Ukraine any further, okay, this is just a war in the eastern Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Well, that didn't end up being that didn't come to pass, right? Putin ended up attacking Kyiv with missiles, well west of the Donetsk, Luhansk regions. So we can't take Putin at his word. We cannot do that as the United States of America. And no country in the world should take a ruthless, bloodthirsty dictator's word at face value. That's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with someone who's into politics, and I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.